Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Superficial Spirit. It's me, Peter Breeze. Thank you for tuning in again, for watching us on YouTube, for listening on Apple and Spotify. Please remember to subscribe, tell your friends about the podcast if you like it, and leave comments. You can find me on all social media at Peter Breeze. I'm really excited about the podcast. I mean, I say that every episode. You can just look at my hair. I'm just like, this is... Sorry, I just need to realize that my hair, okay, it's like a platinum forest fire on my head. I'm not stopping and going to have a shower. So this is what it is. Anyway, thanks again for tuning in. I hope you're doing well. Okay. Well, if you're watching, then you just saw my guest. Just sit down. I have some ideas where I want to take the podcast. And one of them is on a regular basis, having Evan on. Evan is my boyfriend. We've been together for 7 years, and he's joining me today. I told him to stand off camera, and then I would introduce him, and he would walk in.
I'm actually super insecure. My eyes bother me today, so it's good to do like the little wink a little bit, and it's a little embarrassing. It's a myasthenia thing, and it goes a little bit like this, and it's a little. People might think I'm hitting on them, which has been a problem.
I was just gonna say, actually, when Evan and I first started dating in Vancouver, and we moved pretty fast because we met, and then we moved in together in like 3 months. And not a lot of my friends had really met you.
No.
And well, I mean, they had, but hadn't really spent a lot of time. And when we did party together, a few months, like well into our relationship, a friend of mine took me aside and was like, Evan always hits on all of your friends. I was like,
well, and I can't blame that on the myasthenia then either. I think it was just more of
look in
insecurity.
Here, you're talking to yourself.
Oh,
you want to look at the camera?
Okay. Oh, that's pretty vain. What I was just doing.
And try not to slurp right by the microphone.
You know what? This is your fault for this shit setup. This is like a whisper like you can't really have an argument or a conversation with somebody it's like. What, we're pillow talking? Like this is pillow talking with Peter Breeze, 10 in the morning. We're so close.
Well, I'm so sorry that I don't have a full studio for you.
I also want to show off some of my baking in a bit. I did
You don't need to lean into the microphone. Just sit normally. God.
I want to show off some baking in a little bit. I made some really delicious banana bread that might, with my baking, see, I'm looking at myself again. This is horrible. Can we take the screen off?
No, because it's for YouTube. I know technology is very confusing for you, honey. You're 35.
No, I just, I'm vain and I tend to look at myself when there's a mirror in front of me. That's why, like with FaceTime, I take my picture off because the entire time I'm just gonna be like this on FaceTime.
Okay. Anyway, So Evan was my first guest on the podcast. We talked about. We have a lot of opposing views on things. I'm really passionate about pop culture and celebrities. Evan is not. And so he was a great first guest when we were exploring what the podcast was about and talking about Paris Hilton and things like that. And I did.
I generally like good things versus
good things like Star Trek.
The trash.
Good things like Star Trek.
Peter's list of, housewives galore every Saturday morning of just old ladies chirping about hot topics. I guess that's what we're doing.
Break the habit of you speaking and then immediately slurping your coffee.
Okay, I'll put away the coffee.
Don't have to put it away, but like don't fucking talk, and then when it's my turn to talk, slurp your coffee.
If you had a proper setup for this, you are making me do the whisper conversation. I'm very
You can
expressive.
Look at me in here. Like you don't need to turn your head and look at me like this. Like just talk to me in the screen.
But I'm looking at myself.
Anyway. Evan and I had this idea about bringing Evan on more regularly to talk about, to talk about a lot of things. Like we sort of talked about this at home, how we would do it. And we've decided that what we're going to do is we each wrote down, how many did you write?
I'm going to pretend to write things like when they do in debates because it makes me look smart, even though I'm not writing anything.
Okay. So we each wrote down 7, and remember it's a podcast. Not everybody is watching on YouTube. Like you don't have to do a skit.
What? If you're just going to clip off my wings, we're not doing this. We're not even past the fucking introduction yet.
Why are you looking at me?
Oh, shit.
It's so funny. Okay, so basically the concept is we each wrote down 7 topics. We put them in a bowl, and every time Evan comes on, maybe once a week, if we can figure out how to, because you're starting
Do you want me
school.
looking at here or here?
Well, if you look in the camera, that is where the people are.
Mm-hmm.
If you're talking to me, you can look at me in here. You can turn to me, whatever. I mean, there's no rules. Anyway, so we're each going to pick out a topic and then we will explore it. Evan picked some, I picked some. Do you want to pick first today?
I'll pick first.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to add to that introduction?
No, I got to get working. So let's do this.
Okay. So pick a topic.
Okay, wait, I'll do it fairly. Okay, I didn't look. Okay, so the first hot topic of today.
Hot take. You ripped it.
Okay, shitty housewives. We got shitty housewives to talk about right now, which is right up my
Okay,
alley.
so that is you. That is your writing. And I'm
Mhm.
assuming you're talking about the Real Housewives, or are we talking about like...
My apology. I meant to say the Real Housewives. I said shitty housewives, but okay, let's talk about the Real Housewives.
Okay, well, do you want to start since it was your topic, or do you want me to?
I think they're shit.
And that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for joining us.
No. You know what? I appreciate that you really get off on the Housewives. I think it's really it's nice because it's sort of like the way I get off on like maybe watching a Star Trek or like a Xena the Warrior Princess,
Zelda, playing
or
Zelda.
Zelda. But at the same time, there is this vulgarness of the Housewives because Mr. Superficial Spirit, this is just gossip. And it's dirty. It's sort of like when you're in grade 3 and your friends are talking behind your back. That's what the Housewives is. It's like this dirty gossip. And Denise Rich, like I know too much about it, but poor Denise is trying to like not be a lesbian, even though she is a lesbian. I mean, who
She's
hasn't
not a lesbian.
seen Wild
That is
Things?
not. She's not a lesbian.
But wasn't she fooling around with Dorinda?
Okay, Dorinda's from New York.
No, Tracy.
My God, why did I decide to do this?
Tracy?
Denise Richards on this season of Beverly Hills apparently had a threesome with Brandy Glanville, who is a former housewife. Yes.
She's the
And Denise
superstar.
is denying it. However, it's in the first season of Beverly Hills, Denise was super open about her sex life, always talked about her husband's big dick, always talked about she was very open. She set the tone. And so this season, when the threesome was introduced at like a dinner at her house and her kids were around, she's like, I can't believe you would bring up threesomes when my kids were in earshot. And all the other wives were like, what are you talking about? Like, you're Denise Richards. And that was a storyline this whole season. She denied having a threesome with Brandy. She was trying
Why is this interesting television though? I mean,
why is it?
Because the thing with television, and television is a means to tell stories. And we learn from those stories. Sometimes it's not very good, like Star Trek Picard is just terrible, and Star Trek Discovery. Maybe we'll talk about them later. But at least they're telling a narrative story. When you watch, it's sort of junk food for the brain. You're not really getting anything out of it except for trash. Because
okay,
it's not,
so are you saying
you're
saying television is for storytelling?
Yes, television is for storytelling.
So you're telling me that the reality shows that I watch don't have stories, even though they do. There's storylines they go through every season.
No,
so what you're
awesome.
actually saying is
harmful.
television isn't for storylines. Television is for the types of stories that you want to consume.
Look, if it wasn't for reality TV, we wouldn't have Donald Trump today.
If reality TV did not exist,
we would not have
Donald
Trump.
So first of all, reality shows do have storylines. Are they produced? Yes. Are these people gossipy? Yes. Is it based on like intense drama? Yes. That's sensationalized. Yes. How is that different than watching a scripted show that's about like what's that show we watch? Succession, about a really rich family, super scandalous, all of the things that they do in the media. It's about money. It's about influence. So that is a very similar lifestyle that they're putting on TV, but you're saying because it's reality TV,
Succession
it's different.
is commentary on the Murdoch family who has influenced America more than any other news network. And there is a story there about white privilege, about power, about manipulation. And that's the story to expose, American narcissism. Then you have the Housewives, which is glorifying American narcissism. And that's why I think it's trash.
Okay, so it's a matter of perspective. I totally hear what you're
No, it's
saying.
not. It's trash.
You have to let me talk. I
No.
totally hear what you're saying, that it is trashy. Anybody who watches reality shows can admit that it's trashy. I know that, I accept it, but I'm also not watching The Housewives to get anything other than that type of entertainment. If
Mhm.
you can consume that type of media and know it's not real, it's sensationalized, it's for drama, and you can go live your life, who cares? If I'm watching The Real Housewives and I'm trying to get insight onto how the world works or how to be a better person or to be more spiritual, it's probably not going to be the best place for me to go. But I think your problem is you can't consume, you can't observe this type of entertainment without getting so frustrated because you see everything that's wrong with it. And you're like, how can this be on TV when we have Donald Trump as president? But you, I think if you could take it for what it is, it's a bunch of rich people parading around, showing their lives and having dramatic conversations. Why can't you just consume it and let it go? Why does it have to be this big, important thing? It's just fucking TV. It's like,
No, Maury, I disagree with you completely. Look, we both quit smoking like 10 years ago. And I would still love to smoke every day,
to do with
but
anything?
it's bad for me. And reality TV is bad for people generally.
Okay,
Look,
how
like
is
they're amazing.
reality
We
TV bad
just
for
watched
me?
The Amazing Race. No, what did we watch? The Hardest
Toughest Race.
World's Toughest Race. That to me, I found very inspiring. But that was like athleticism. That was sort of like watching a sport, which is great. But when you are sitting on that couch giggling like a little boy about Dorinda or Bethany, by the way, all these housewives are all purse designers. I generally, I would say
Oh
70%
you
just
said
design
that joke in the
purse.
first episode, honey.
Well, it's not a joke. I'm pretty sure all they do, what if Dorinda decided to maybe go make purses out of the garbage patch in the Pacific Ocean? Maybe, I will tip my non-existent hat to at least Kim Kardashian, who I also really can't stand, but at least she did something with her celebrity to help out criminal justice reform.
You
With
know
Van
that
Jones.
Bethany spends her own money and takes her own private jets to go and help when there's natural disasters in America, and she gets all of her rich friends to donate. And it's a big part of what she does in her life now and why she stopped the Real Housewife, because she's become more she helps, what's that word? Philanthropy.
She likes to give money.
So here's the thing. I feel like you're really judgmental about media and about reality shows because you personally don't like them. You could sit and watch play Zelda for 8 hours a day and you would be like, this is totally fine because it makes you happy. But can't you accept the fact that people can watch the Real Housewives and other reality shows, get joy from it and leave it at that? What's wrong with working really hard during the week, spending Saturday morning binge watching trashy TV because it helps you turn off your brain? You're watching something, you're consuming something that it's escapism.
No, Maury.
So basically you're coming at it as a super judgmental thing because you consume media all the time that you think is okay, but because you find reality TV lowbrow, it's not realistic.
I don't mind lowbrow. I like trashy things. I enjoy trashy things. I find it damaging to society.
Right. That's what you said. How is reality TV damaging to me? You see me
because you're glorifying rich white women generally, or rich black women when it comes to Atlanta, about just commercialism and decadence. And my favorite
I'm
thing
talking about me specifically. Evan, finish the thought.
What?
How does it affect me negatively? Watching The Housewives, you said it's bad, it's damaging. How is it damaging to me? You've been my partner for 7 years.
Like an idiot on the couch giggling about Bethany's abortion or whatever thing they're doing every week. I don't know. It's always nonsense with these women.
You're still not answering the question.
They're getting.
You're not answering the question.
Falling off chairs, and it's just like, how is this? It's 2020. The world's falling apart, and we're watching these like middle-aged white woman just be so vulgar.
You can't answer a question.
I think it's damaging to you. I don't think it's good for your brain.
How?
I don't think it's good for your brain.
How?
I think it stupefies you.
Stupefies.
I think it stupefies you.
Okay.
It's like a Harry Potter spell of stupid every time you watch it. Like,
okay, but tell me specifically how you've seen me become more stupid by watching The Real Housewives. Not just like a loose concept.
Do we have 3 more hours to talk about this?
Name one way.
I think we should move on to a different topic.
No, because you're not answering the question. How has it made me more stupid?
Look, I appreciate the fact if you enjoy all the power to you. I just think it's undesirable.
Here's a question for you.
No, you have to pick from the jar.
No, we only do one topic per episode.
No.
I have another question for you.
No, we're doing several topics.
I have another question
This is
for
rapid.
you.
This is Day of Hot
I
Topics.
have another question for you. So, you know, I mean, regardless of what you say about reality TV, I think underneath it all, you know that it makes me happy and it's not that bad. And, you know, you've seen me change some serious problematic behavior, you know, with my partying, with my insane fame obsession, with my, like, you have seen me transform my life and become more healthy, go to the gym, blah, 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 brush my teeth at night. So if you see me,
When did you not brush your? That's disgusting.
I didn't, before I met you, I tell you this all the time.
You would be sleeping on the patio if I knew that with the dog.
I also didn't
Actually, the
floss
dog would
before
be
I met you.
inside.
I also didn't floss
Oh
before
my
I met you.
God. That's because of the Housewives.
Okay, so this is what my computer's not plugged in.
Oh, is it time? I can show off my baking now as an interlude.
No, it's okay. Just give me a second. You can keep talking.
I mean, I don't really want to keep talking about the
I
Housewives.
have a question.
Okay.
It's gonna be good, but I have to wait.
Hold on. We have to plug in the computer.
No, don't say hold on. Just it's still recording.
Well, can we?
No, don't press pause.
Don't press pause. Okay.
Well, you can entertain. Tell them 10 reasons why you love me.
No.
Okay, there we go. Okay, so regardless of all of the things that you hate about reality TV, and you know how much joy it brings me to watch, like the latest episode of Potomac was so good.
Mm-hmm.
If Bravo called me tomorrow and was like, Peter, we love the superficial spirit. We love that you are an insanely famous pop star in 2009 in Vancouver on Davie Street. We want to make a series about your life, and we want to make it the #1 show on Bravo. We're going to have to bring cameras to the house. You and Evan are going to have to disclose your life and let it all out for the cameras. And we're going to pay you $100,000 for the first season. What would you say?
No, Maury.
And that would be when we broke up.
There is
You really
no
would?
way-
You really
there
would?
is no, there is no way I would want a camera crew following me around, looking at me, popping my zits and doing my
honey, you
hair
don't
and my
have
eye
zits.
falling out half the time. Come on. I don't need that type of validation. It's insanity.
But it would be so exciting for me as my partner. So you would, if I decided to do the show, you'd be like, relationship over, see you soon.
Peace. I mean, that's not a favor. That is, you're demanding your significant other be molested on reality TV.
Oh, honey, it's
You know,
not molested. Don't
you know,
say things like that.
you
People are
know-
gonna. You can't make light of people who are molested and compare it to being a reality star.
Well, I'm using it as an analogy, a camera in your face and all that stuff.
Okay, fine.
I mean,
Bravo, can you please call me and save me from this shit?
hot topics.
Okay, my turn to pull a topic. I
Alright.
thought we were gonna do one per one.
No,
We're
it's
gonna
more
run it.
fun rapid fire.
Ooh, RuPaul's Drag Race. It's reality show day.
Mhm.
Okay, I'll start this one. What do I think about? I mean, I've obviously this is the thing when I think about reality. Not reality. RuPaul's Drag Race. When RuPaul's Drag Race first came on TV, it was interesting because you were seeing a part of the queer community that was so common and regular for people who went to gay clubs and watched drag queens every week. It was just like seeing your friends on TV, and it felt very underground. So to see the transformation of RuPaul's Drag Race start as like this tiny show with no budget and the Vaseline filter turn into this huge mainstream show has been interesting. And I've seen drag change, and I feel like I'm at the age now where I've seen a transition in pop culture where, you know, when you're young, you attach yourself to one idea, like the Britney and the boy bands, the bubblegum pop, and then it changes and you're like, oh no, I remember when pop was good. I feel like that about drag. Like I remember when drag had more of a journey and you had to work your way up in the clubs, and it took a long time to get a drag show. And, you know, to hone your art, it took, you know, the most celebrated drag queens were in their 30s, 40s, 50s. They weren't 19 years old with 100,000 followers on Instagram. And I think Drag Race has made what drag is a really small box. Like it's like the really fishy, beautiful queens. And then every once in a while you have like a club kid one. But it's also made it more accessible to the masses, which I think for any queer artist is good, because the more they're consuming from our community, the more opportunities will present themselves in different ways. So I think Drag Race is a great part of pop culture. I feel like I'm getting RuPaul fatigue personally, but Canada's Drag Race was great.
I have to agree with you. I actually really enjoyed Canada's Drag Race. I thought it was a ton of fun. I thought it was really real, which is surprising for me. I loved all the queens. I thought they had great chemistry. I was sorry to see any of them really go. Except that social media one I found a little annoying.
Which
She
one?
just seemed a little mean.
Which one?
I don't know. I don't
What do you
remember
mean
many
the
of their
social
names.
media one?
There was one of them, Cayenne, maybe Cayenne Pepper.
Sorry.
I don't love meanness. I am turned off by meanness. So anyone's too mean, you know. But I really found it really, really enjoyable. It was nice. But I do find, I mean, I'm questioning.
Wait, did you like Canada's Drag Race more than American Drag Race?
You know, maybe because I know, I know one of the queens. Maybe.
Who did you know?
Juicebox, I've known, and she's lovely.
We know Juicebox,
and I threw a brick at the TV when I found out what happened.
That was so sad.
That was sad.
I mean, okay, this is
And that's
great.
what-
I know
I mean-
we're done talking about the reality show part, but Real Housewives. But can you imagine working so hard and then getting to the point where you're actually on TV and then you get kicked off first?
All right, Maury, I have something to tell you on this, and this is from Captain Picard, Little Wisdom. But part of being human is losing. And that's just part of the human condition. And we all have to remember that. And you can do everything right and then still lose.
That's the
Captain
thing.
Picard
That's
says.
the thing that you also realize as you get older. You can
Yes.
work your ass off and have the best
and
intentions
still lose.
and still things won't. And this is why people who are single are like, I'm doing all the things. I've been working on my mental health. I've been working on my body. I love my career. I love my friends. I love myself, and I'm still single. But sometimes that's just life. Like you can have all of the ingredients and it can still come out tasting like shit. It's just, I don't know. There is no guarantee.
But sometimes, you know, we're really, I mean, the problem with reality TV and drag as a competition is there's a winner, but that's not how life works. You can,
Isn't it though? Because there is always winners. It's the people who have the most access, the people who have the most money, the beautiful people.
Well, I think if you're an asshole, you'll lose eventually. I mean, like Donald Trump, you might be winning right now, but I do think there is a special place in hell for someone like that. And same with the entire trope, the entire family.
The thing
Ivanka,
about Donald Trump is
and
like
Jared Jr., and Tiffany, the whole.
I'm kind
clan.
of interested in Tiffany Trump because she's definitely going to be the one who has like a reality show.
I can't stand any of them. They're just so vacant and just so awful.
And you really do think that if reality TV didn't exist, Donald Trump would not be president?
Yes, 100%. He's a reality. And I mean, we're all guilty of that too. We're all really responsible for the biggest narcissist in history becoming president because of MTV. And
would you rather have Donald Trump president or Kris Jenner? And you have to pick one.
I mean, you know, I think Kanye West is an identical version of Donald Trump. I think he'd just be as problematic. So I don't know. I mean, Kris Jenner at least seems like she's empathetic. I mean, Donald Trump he literally doesn't, I think he's psychotic because he lacks empathy. I mean, you can just see it, like, you know, to call war dead, you know, Megyn Kelly bleeding from her vagina or whatever. He has no empathy.
But
and
don't you
at least
think
Kris
that
Jenner and Kim Kardashian, I mean, Kanye West looks a little bit
do you
messed
think that
up to
there's
me as well.
value in the fact that because Donald Trump is such a polarizing person and he brought he brought so many problems with society to the forefront that there actually was a value in him becoming president because all of these issues are right in our face now?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, you know, it's better to know you have cancer than it's sitting under your surface for 10 years and then you die.
What if you were never in
better.
pain and you just had cancer, and then one day you died and you knew that you didn't have cancer, and then you just died instead of knowing you have cancer and knowing that you're going to die? You know what I mean? Like
that makes a lot of sense, Maury. I really can follow you there.
No, like if you had cancer and you only had a month to live, but you weren't going to be in any pain, and at the end of the month you just died and you lived your life normally, or if you found out you had cancer and it was in your mind for a month and you're like, oh my God, I'm going to die, you would spend the whole month worrying instead of just living your life.
I disagree. I think, you know, memento mori, remembering you have to die, is.
Who's Memento Mori? Is that a drag queen?
That is my drag queen name.
No, your drag name is Aloofa Citrine.
Aloofa Citrine. No, or Ambien. I like Ambien more.
What's mine?
Perfect Angel Prince. I thought we decided on Perfect Angel Prince with no talent.
That's not true. Every time I do something creatively or like in my career, you're always like, I'm really impressed, Peter.
No, I was really impressed you did the podcast only because you don't have any production experience.
This
And
isn't
that's a
production,
big
honey.
thing.
We're sitting at the kitchen table.
Well, this is a pretty lowbrow production, but I'm impressed you're able to even use Grammys.
But you say that a lot, actually. Like, you know, whenever I do something of significance, you're like, I'm impressed. I'm impressed. Like, did you just feel like I'm just like this
vacant
peroxide
person who watches Housewives all day? A little bit.
A lot of people think that about me.
Well,
and then they talk to me like,
wrong.
oh my God.
No, I think you've actually really matured the last few years.
What do you credit that to?
Me maybe dying, possible.
Yeah,
you did. He had to take care of me like a baby for a year to 2 years, I would say, and then after I got better, I still really messed up for a while, as anyone would.
And also, interesting point about that story is that Evan, actually, we had been together for 5 years, and it was only after he was in the hospital and almost died that he realized he really did love me, even though we had been together for 5 years and I had moved to Toronto for him.
Let's do another hot topic.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's my turn.
Okay.
And
it's one of yours, I can tell.
Cancel culture.
Ooh,
cancel culture.
This is a goody two shoes, because we talk about this a lot in the house. Oh my gosh, should we talk about what happened with
hashtag let's cancel culture.
Edgy. Remember not to put them back in.
All right.
Ooh, okay, this is good. I don't even know where to start about cancel. Wait, I know where we can start. I started this podcast right when the huge, like when the Black Lives Matter protests started around in America. I remember I had
George
like
Floyd
one
was killed.
Yeah, thank you. I had one podcast episode out, and then this happened. I was like, oh my God, like, how am I gonna have, like, I can't be like a young, I'm not that young anymore, but a white
You're
boy.
fab at 26, don't worry. 26
A white boy
right
talking
here.
about how Paris Hilton and Britney Spears are conduits for spirituality when there's so much real issues going on in the world. I felt like it was such a bad timing. And I had a lot of anxiety about, like, if you are a person who is constantly posting on social media, and then the BLM movement really came to the forefront over the quarantine when George Floyd died, you have to fucking say something. Like, you can't continue as normal. I think it's like, if you're somebody who is constantly expressing themselves through social media for superficial reasons, you should comment on what's happening in the world. And I had so much anxiety because I was scared I would say the wrong thing, and I was scared that I would be canceled or called a racist, or like, it was just really caused me a lot of anxiety. And you were like, say something if you feel compelled to say something, or don't say something if you don't want to. Like, it's you shouldn't be scared to be yourself and to take a step back or to take a step forward when things like that happen. But I was really taken by it. And I'm a people pleaser. I wanted to do the right thing, and I wanted to be perceived that I was doing the right thing too.
Yeah, I don't want to get myself in trouble here. I
really be careful about what you say, because
are you muzzling me?
No, but you say things quickly, and I don't think you think them through. And I
already regret calling Tiffany Trump a cow. I take that back. It's not fair to say that. I just dislike. I don't think it's fair to attack someone that way. So I apologize, Tiffany, if you're listening. I apologize. I just don't like you.
And also call me. I'd love to have you on the show, honey.
I didn't be on the show, Tiffany. No, I don't like cancel culture. And basically the reason is because we have to be able to learn from our mistakes. Now, if someone's just a jackass and they're not willing to learn from their mistakes, that's one thing. But if, this whole thing with canceling Ellen, for example, look, I've never really watched her show. I don't really care about her show, but she had a tough work environment per se. I've worked for a lot of people in my day, and I've worked on dozens of films. I know what the film industry is like, and it is tough. It is a very tough and toxic environment. Now, should that change? Yes, I think we have a more wholesome environment, but it's also the industry and it's also the times. And for us to start canceling people because our modern condition tells us that today these values have to be forced upon things that haven't changed yet is really asinine, because we have to allow people to change. And for example, Nick Cannon came out, not too familiar with Nick Cannon, but he said some pretty anti-Semitic stuff. But then he apologized after. And I was like, you know what? Thank you. Let's grow. Maybe go visit a synagogue, be friends with the Jews. That's fantastic. But then all the people on the left started criticizing him for apologizing. And like, what the fuck? Like, why do
Yeah.
we have to be so crazy? Let's cancel people who really deserve it, like Tiffany Trump.
Oh
And,
my
and
God, stop it. Stop it with Tiffany.
poor Tiffany. But we can just really do better, and allow people to learn. And another example is like, yeah, see, there was this whole article on, I don't know, it was BuzzFeed or something, about, Friends, and how it's really the
Friends
worst
the show.
Friends the show because it didn't have Black people on it. And this is in the 90s.
They had
And
one of Ross's girlfriends was Black.
okay, one, but it's sort of like they
Yeah.
had a token Black person, much like Seinfeld had a token Native American
Right.
ones.
But that's how pop
And-
culture was. That's how TV shows were back then.
Absolutely. And for us to go back, and famously, Seinfeld is a very cringy gay episode. And it wasn't, I would say, homophobic. It was just cringy by today's standards. But you have to look at those shows in the context of when it was made, and it's still very funny.
Okay,
I don't think Friends would be
so
made today, and it wouldn't be. I want it to be multicultural, of course, but it was also made
yeah, but
back
if you
in the
go to
day.
New York for 5 seconds, first of all, nobody's living in those apartments, and it is incredibly diverse. And I think that it was back then. So I think it's interesting that when the producers are putting together a show like that, even back in the early 2000s, was there conversations about like, maybe we should make this a more diverse cast? Having said that, all of my friends were white growing up. I mean, I'm from Calgary, and Vancouver is pretty white too, but I hear what you're saying. And I remember when we lived in Gastown and Netflix first brought Friends on, and I remember being so excited to watch it back and then being uncomfortable. And I actually made a Facebook post about it because there is a lot of uncomfortable scenes, and it was mostly about the homophobic things. Like Joey would like sit too close to Ross, and he would be like, "Oh no, don't do that." And I didn't notice that when I was growing up, but those are actually the things that you consume on TV that send you the message that it is weird or strange or uncomfortable to be gay. And that's why you end up growing up with a complex. Now, do I think that Friends should be taken off the air because of there's this, maybe some, let's say homophobic tension between some of the scenes? No, I don't think so. But also, if people who are just experiencing Friends right now are saying it's offensive and problematic, we also need to listen to those voices. It's not just, well, at one point it was good, so we need to honor that at one point it was good.
Here's the example why these people are wrong. I'll give
what people are wrong.
Well, these activists who say we have to cancel the 90s TV shows or sitcoms or whatever. Now, here's my thing. In 100 years, let's say we actually survive the next 3 months. Who knows? But in 100 years, when we actually probably get rid of commercial farming, and commercial farming is this huge evil that we do. And look, I eat meat. I'm on paleo. I eat a ton of meat. And I'm very guilty for this, but commercial farming is going to go out the window in the next few decades because of lab-grown meat, et cetera, and technology. Are we going to have our children's children say that we were committing genocide every day and that we were monsters and everything from this time has to be eradicated because we tortured animals?
Well, I think that first of all, you don't need to wait for generations of people to be born, because people already do. Like, a lot of vegan activists do perceive the meat industry in that way, that it is genocide.
No, I'm talking about like a general cancelization of us.
Well, you can cancel history. Like,
no, but that's what
you can take Friends off of Netflix, but it's not. Yeah,
no, that is canceling history by taking it off. And people aren't stupid. They don't need a little hashtag in Netflix saying, "Ooh, 90s sitcom, a little bit offensive to has some weird views of homosexuals." Like, we don't need those goddamn labels. I was on Netflix. It wasn't Netflix. I think it was a UK channel streaming service that said Aliens from 1986 with James Cameron has problematic stereotypes. And actually, I don't really know what they're referring to, but
like, don't make any assumptions, please. Okay,
like,
well, this is where you and I disagree.
Idiots. They know it's the 90s, 80s. It's from the 1980s.
Okay, oh my God, I have to say something before this thought leaves my mind.
Come on.
You just said people are not stupid. They should be able to consume media and have literacy. But then at the same time, you're saying reality show is problematic and people can't be trusted to watch reality TV and not take it seriously. So that's a double standard. You're expecting that people can, perceive potential stereotypes and, decipher it in their mind. But when it comes to reality TV, you think that, no, people can't be trusted. They're not that smart. I'm just pointing that out. However, this is where you and I differ, because you are of the mind, like, if somebody is saying something is racist or homophobic or sexist, and you are perceiving the situation as like, come on, like maybe, but it's a reach. And are you really going to focus on that? I feel like if somebody is saying that it's triggering this reaction in them, we should at least hear them out. If somebody says that, if somebody ever calls me out for being racist or problematic, my reaction is going to be, okay, tell me why. I want to explore it. But if you shut it down right away, like somebody's saying that Alien is, what did they say?
Oh, Jesus. So there was a professor from Brock University in Niagara who made, I would categorize as a clickbait article, saying that Predator and Aliens has representate negative stereotypes of African Americans. Specifically, the alien female is equivalent to somehow Black females because they're both Black.
Okay.
And I honestly, I read the article as I'm looking to myself again, sorry.
That's okay.
As I read the article, and I read it, I think 5 times, trying to make the connection in my brain that because the alien's Black, it represents Black females. And I've tried for a while and it hasn't happened yet. It's pretty out there.
So why can't you accept that maybe somebody did interpret the movie that way and hear them out, and at least in your brain and in your heart be like, maybe there is some problems with the way that it's presented, and maybe there is some connections between the alien and, like, I get what you're saying. If you can't watch a movie and be like, this is a fake alien from a fake planet on a fictionalized
Predator 2 starred a Black lead. The hero of Predator 2 was Danny Glover, for God's sakes. And you're saying...
But that doesn't... Just because they cast a Black person doesn't mean that there's not problematic behavior in the history of the movie.
No, I mean, but if you want to look throughout all history and if you're really going through the history books and calling out sci-fi from the 80s, which is actually quite progressive for the time for its depiction of women and African Americans as heroes, and calling them out, you're basically shitting all over popular culture, and people have a right to get pissed off by that.
I agree. You don't have to agree.
Like
and I think that we have to accept the fact that just because somebody calls something racist or homophobic or sexist doesn't mean everybody else in the room has to sit silently and agree. I mean, if you find a problem with something that somebody's saying...
There's a lot of people in the social justice...
No, but I'm saying, what I'm saying is that you don't have to.
Sit down and shut up.
You don't listen.
I am listening.
All I'm saying is that if somebody's saying alien is racist, you can hear them out, and also you can disagree. I mean, you don't have to. I think the problem right now is like there's the expectation that if somebody's being canceled, everybody has to follow suit. And if you don't completely agree, then you are also a racist. And I think there are situations where if there is incredibly racist behavior and you disagree, then you need to look inside yourself and question, maybe you have the same racist tendencies that they're trying to call out. But I mean, when it comes to a movie like Alien or Predator, and you're a huge sci-fi fan, and you say, like, look, I was growing up gay. The female role models I had were what's her name from Star Trek? The female captain Janeway, Xena. What's the character's name from Alien? Reaver. These are hugely like that. Whoopi Goldberg.
I can never say her first
name
properly, so
there are huge points in these films that were ahead of their time, and to focus on things that are problematic.
I think there is, on the left, there is a rush to out social justice each other, and it's like and I have tons of friends like this who seem to be trying to outdo each other with how left they can get and how progressive they can get. And then the further left they go, the louder they get. And it's pretty obnoxious. I mean, we have to come, unity does not mean, we have to value diverse opinions. We cannot go
but we can't value racist opinions.
No, I'm not saying we should value racist opinions.
So what do you think is appropriate? Because you're saying we have to stop cancel culture, and people who think that these sci-fi movies are racist are being...
No, first of all, no one thinks that. That was one jackass. And I've talked to
sure
all my
friends
in the comment
agree, section, there are more.
Oh, come on. All my friends agree. And I've talked to my friends, my friends who are Black, my friends who are Arab, and my friends who are white, and they all agree it's stupid because it's a stupid article.
Okay, so what about the people who do feel like it is problematic?
Then you're trigger me timbers, and if you want to be a Facebook activist and be screaming about everything from aliens to the Muppets and Barney the gay dinosaur, then fine, that's your right. Go
But do you
have
think that there's a
go have
place
that
for
life.
that in the pursuit of equality and equity in society? Do you think there's a place for calling out such specific points of pop culture?
I mean, look, everyone's entitled. I'm definitely willing to read articles. I just think I'm also allowed, when you are that extreme, I think you should also be willing to take a punch back, and this is
And
my
have the
punch back and
conversation.
have the conversation. Look, I'm open to anyone's opinions, and this guy has every right, this Brock professor, to his opinions on these movies. I think he's being clickbait, and I think he wrote an article to get attention, but
Okay.
that's fine.
So what do you think is a good example of cancel culture then? Because
Uh,
you are pretty
I mean, let's
against
cancel Donald Trump. That's, I think we could all agree on.
but even canceling Donald Trump won't stop the
No, it
movement. Like
won't.
he
But
is.
it's just cancel culture to the extreme. I mean, everything. Look, you have to look through history with pluralism, and it can't just be a one issue thing. It's like Winston Churchill, very famously. You have to look at that guy through a pluralistic lens. He did some really shitty things, awful things, and he also probably saved Europe and the Jews. So he's a complicated man,
And I do want to say
and
that
you have to look through history.
Evan does want to cancel. Like he wants to cancel the people who are calling out the calling the alien problematic. But also you also want to cancel the rich white housewives. I mean, you just generally find so many problems with media and social media. Oh, I should have written down social media. That's a good topic for us. But I feel like I'm more like I can watch these articles and see them online and not be so triggered by them, and watch these shows that you consider problematic and not be so triggered by them, because I know that everyone's entitled to have their own experience and I don't need to get so you are so, like, talk about trigger me timbers. You have a hard time being a regular consumer of social media and not getting extremely angry about people who have different opinions than you, people who criticize shows that you like. You have a hard time seeing those types of articles and letting it go. Like you get really worked
No,
up
I
by
get really
it.
worked up, and when people call each other Nazis on Facebook and stuff, that also really angers me. I just don't like these extremist views, whether they're left or right, on social media. I mean, we had that whole thing on your Facebook,
Yeah, so
about
I
people calling Tommy a Nazi, and like it's so stupid. And look, I want to respect everyone's opinions, but if you're calling Tommy a Nazi, you're a fucking douche.
yeah.
I'm sorry. And I respect your opinion, but your douchery is level 11. Okay? Because anytime you compare someone to a Nazi, you have lowered the conversation to gravel. Because I'm sorry, the Nazis exterminated an entire race, plus many other races, and tried to take over the world. And you're calling a promoter, a very talented promoter, on top of that, a Nazi. It's insanity, but it's just, the problem with social media is it values the most extreme opinions, and it doesn't take in the more nuanced, pluralistic conversations in the center where people want to have conversation. But when you start calling people a Nazi, the conversation's over.
Mhm.
That's why I don't call Donald Trump a Nazi. He's
And
not
you
a
know what?
Nazi.
Do you know
I think
about
he maybe has.
that Nazi comment that was really crazy? Is that when you confronted the person who
They
said it,
doubled
they
down.
doubled down
They
and were
doubled
like,
down.
"I'm sorry that you're Jewish and that you're upset by this, but I said Tommy took opportunities away from drag performers. That isn't the same as putting Jews in gas
What?
chambers, you
I'm
freak."
sorry. What a loser. What a loser.
Well,
And
don't
you
make
are a
fun of him. I
loser.
mean,
I
like
will make, no, I'm
you can call
sorry.
it his problematic behavior, but I mean, if
What
you
a
start bullying
loser.
the other side, it's like, again, you're going down to the point of gravel.
Okay, fair enough. Fair
Yeah,
enough.
like let's not
Fair enough.
make fun of people. Everyone's entitled. And a lot of people are genuinely trying to do their best, and they think that by
Being a Facebook activist is the most lowest
Slacktivist.
form of activism. It's just, come on. Like, it's so
You're just getting
easy to
people.
sit on your little, trolling away. Come on.
I also think that too. Oh, what was I going to say about that? Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think that was a really great way to end that conversation. Do you want to talk a little bit about Ishrandi, your favorite person?
Can we save her for next time? I love her, and I really, she
Why
has
don't
a
you just give
wonderful.
like an elevator pitch about her book and why you love it so much?
Okay, so it's called "Don't Label Me." Ursula Menji. I hope I'm saying that right because I do butcher her name a lot, but she's a lovely, nuanced educator, and she's really helped me with BLM and how I approach race relations in my own brain so I can absorb media. And she's very big on let's all be uncomfortable being uncomfortable with each other. And I think it's such a beautiful message that we can have diverse opinions. Anyway, she has a whole book on it. Don't label me. She has a wonderful project called the Moral Courage Project, I believe. And she's wonderful and very, very nuanced, and it's pluralistic and it's humanist. She says she's not a humanist. I disagree a little bit. I think she's
an Indian lesbian, right? Like she's not a white person trying to talk about racism. But she's a person who is a marginalized. She would say
community. that's so beyond the point. You know,
I think it's important to know that
I would never even
I think it's
label
important
her
to know that for the people who are listening, that you're taking this advice from somebody who isn't white.
She's Muslim. She's gay. She's been through the ringer. But at the same time, she would say, you know what, why don't you not start the conversation with calling me gay Muslim? That's what she would start off.
Yeah, but
I really appreciate that message, because before we go into the identity politics, we have to remember we are humans first, because identity usually brings some sort of tribalism with it. Anyway, her entire book is lovely. I love it. I love her. She's on social media. She's just a rock star, and I get pretty giddy about her, much like you get giddy around Dorinda.
Okay, we'll do one more and then we'll wrap it up.
And I also want to show off my baking, because everyone wants to see my baking.
Actually, why don't you do that right now, because I have to go to the bathroom.
You can't go to the bathroom.
Just quick, show them.
Okay.
Show them.
All right. So this is my little paleo bread that, well, I know it looks awful, but you know, we can see if it tastes all right. Let's try it.
You have to describe it too, because people on the podcast are just listening.
Wait, I'm gonna try to cut a piece. Let's see how it looks. So it's brown. It's not raised. I think Thanks Jem would be pretty upset with this, but let's see if it's moist. It doesn't really come out of the pan.
That looks great. I think it needs to settle a little more.
Okay, it might go right in the garbage. Anyway, let's keep going.
Okay, so I'm going to pick the next topic. I love this. See, wouldn't you like it if this was our TV show on Bravo, or we just
I gotta get working. It's a quick one.
Okay. Housewives again. Oh, this is this. So you put that one back.
Oh, I put it back.
Comparing people to Nazis. Okay, well, we just talked about that one.
Don't compare people to Nazis. Don't be a douche.
And why don't more anti-Semitic people get canceled?
They should.
Yeah, like anti-Semitism is very.
It's the same as being racist.
I know, but people don't care. It doesn't carry the same weight.
Well, it should.
I agree. Following your dreams.
Oh, that's a little vanilla conversation here.
I think it's a good topic to wrap up. Well, you know, I don't need to tell I will talk about it till I'm blue in the face. This following your dreams is the basically the fundamental belief I have in my life is that you need to find a way to connect to your spirit and find out how you can authentically share that with people. And when I was young, following your dreams was the action I interpreted that as doing what you can to make your dreams come true. I wanted to be a star, so it was becoming famous. And I think following your dreams is like this kind of Disney way of approaching your life, which as you get older becomes harder and harder to stand by, because it's like, it's not a fairy tale. And like we said earlier, you can do all the right things and work your ass off and still not make it. And so as you get older and you become, life throws punches your way, being a dreamer and following your dreams.
Life throws punches your way. It's a good
being a dreamer and trying to make a life that you love becomes a little bit more complicated. It's not just being 18, going to the club, getting attention, saying, I'm going to be a famous. Being in your mid 30s, pursuing creativity and figuring out what the balance is between making money, paying your bills, being a stable person, and also going after the things you want is completely different. So I feel like following your dreams, like, what does it look like to be 100? And oh my God, what's that article you saw? I'm 75 and I just started my acting career and I've never been happy.
Fab at 75 starting acting.
You were also a dreamer though. I mean, you wanted to be a movie star.
No, look, if you follow your dreams, it's wonderful, but be prepared to lose.
But
you follow your dreams, you might lose. And there's a very good chance the majority of people are going to lose. So you don't want to end up a bitter 40-year-old because you didn't make it as an actor.
So how do you not become bitter if you don't make it?
You have to allow the fact, again, be like Jean-Luc Picard. You might lose if you follow your dreams because not everyone can be a rock star. Not everyone's going to be Orville Peck. You know,
oh, we love Orville.
We love Orville. He really deserves it though. He's just awesome.
I'm so paranoid about that. Yeah, he does.
Message me privately.
Not everybody can be.
No, but not everyone can. No, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't try. But my mom was really always smart, and I really, at the time I argued with her, but she always told me, at least follow your dreams and have a backup plan, or at least make money and follow your dreams on the side. And there is something to that where it's like you follow your dreams, but you have a day job. That's not, when you add the pressure of being a professional artist or whatever, following your dreams, it can add a lot of poison to your art as well, because you're adding that whole construct of making money and being successful and fame. So,
because it's hard to be creative and have fun with it when you don't know how you're going to pay your bills.
Totally.
I have been there. It's like, it's challenging. And I actually find now.
We can't even pay our bills right now.
I know. Holler. I actually
Patreon. 30 cents a month.
I'm not starting a Patreon.
30 cents a month.
Help us eat.
Help us eat.
Peter and Evan. I feel like
more banana bread.
I feel like actually having a day job now informs my creativity because I don't need to worry about real life. I can just spend my free time creating and it actually helps. But if telling me that when I was 25, all I wanted to do was be self-employed. I did not want to have a boss. I wanted to spend all my time trying to do whatever it is I wanted to do, be a pop star, be a writer, be a party promoter. But when I did that and you don't have the financial backing and you don't have the support to worry about the day-to-day lives, then being creative and following your dreams becomes a very scary, heavy, scarce process because you're forced to deal with things like, how am I going to eat? How am I going to pay my rent? When all you want to do is work on your latest album or work on a show, and it becomes a lot more complicated. So if we have kids, for example, and they're creative and they want to be an artist, what are we going to tell them about following their dreams? Because we've both been burned by it. Honey.
Don't do it, Maury.
I'm going to be a show mom, and I'm like, yes, I will be your agent manager. We'll call TLC. Hopefully they're triplets. I don't know if you can adopt triplets. Like, can you request that?
Not having fucking triplets.
Anyway, I would be a show mom. I would support them all the way.
You just want a triplet so you can take them to fucking Yorkville? Like what do you want?
No, I want them so I can put them on TV like the Olsen twins. Hello.
Okay. That's enough of this. I got to
thank you for joining us.
I actually have something to do today. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll be back next week. If you want to follow Evan, you can find him at on. He's on social media too. Radioactive Applesauce.
I post once every 3 months.
Yeah, please like his tweets. He's really insecure about it. And you know where to find me, Peter Breeze, Superficial Spirit. Thank you so much for joining Evan and I. We'll be back soon. Love you. See you next week. Find me on social media, Peter Breeze. Bye.